You started.
All right, guys, this is another episode of the Burnout, or the Post Circuit of the Americas edition. They always say keep Austin weird, so let's not keep the Burnout weird though. Let's do a regular old episode of the Burnout. This is Drew, and who am I with?
My name is also Drew, aka Chip, aka Cook.
Well, that's kind of weird.
It is a little weird. I'm just a weird guy doing weird guy stuff. This weekend was kind of weird as well. It was not a great weekend, not a terrible weekend. It was just kind of mid, I guess, to be what the cool kids call it these days. Would you agree with that?
Um, I I would say the truck race was below average. I would say the Xfinity race was decent, and I thought the Cup race it was not not good. It was mid for normal circumstances, but I enjoyed it for a road course. I think CotA has definitely claimed my favorite road course. This has been the third year, and I've enjoyed all 3 years road course wise. So I was actually I was satisfied with it. I'll say.
Yeah, I feel like the lack of stage cautions really helped the race as a whole kind of like play out. It'd be really interesting to see if NASCAR decides to go this way with, the ovals bringing back, no stage breaks. But yeah, I feel like overall it was a pretty good weekend. Obviously, that finish at the end with the 45 million cautions kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails. But overall, still a decent Cup race. Kind of in the
Yeah,
same boat, but truck race Xfinity as well.
I would have. I really liked the rash of cautions at the end that made it kind of in doubt. But the caution laps took too long. That's the honest problem with it. If we could have got three quick, overtimes, would have been something. But the caution laps just running like 5 minutes apiece was the problem. It makes me wonder if NASCAR is going to go back to an overtime line or limit the attempts again. I don't know. I haven't checked social media since the race. Actually, I didn't check it at all really during the race either, maybe one or two times. So I'm not sure what the masses are saying, but I would not be surprised if that's what they're complaining about.
Well, my question, and for you and everybody else listening to this, is why don't we just go the Formula One route and every other form of road course racing? Why don't we have local cautions as opposed to full course cautions? Like, obviously, if there's like a four car pileup, you obviously have to have a full course caution. But if somebody puts down a has a tire carcass come off their car, like Blaney, there should be a runoff area where they can park that car behind the wall, and somebody can be able to run out and go grab that carcass real quick with local yellows. Does
Yeah,
that
but
not make sense? Or
it does, but it ruin there won't be a big drama restart and all that stuff. So I really don't want to see that.
well, I mean, yeah, that is true. I just feel like that's one thing that Formula One does better than NASCAR is that kind of thing. And like I said, we're not Formula One, we're not a road course series, although it feels like we're turning that way. But I mean, it is what it is. Let's talk about some of the races from this weekend. Thoughts on the truck race?
Um, I thought that was the snore fest of the weekend, I guess. I thought Zane Smith. Oh, okay, so I thought about this yesterday and I watched it. I want to discuss it here. Zane Smith, I think, is cup ready, or at least he appears to me to be. Do we actually think he's going to be in a front row cup car, or is he going to get poached? I'm willing to throw down some money
Coach?
that says he's going to get poached.
Yeah, the question is, where does he go though?
I don't know, but he's got to be the hottest guy coming through the ranks right now.
I'd be willing to say he's definitely a championship favorite. Um, yeah, I just don't know where he goes in the Cup Series at this point. Um, do you think he stays with any chance of SHR and him staying with a Ford?
I think it's possible. I think what's more likely though is that RFK opens a third car for him. Um, of course, if they could get a charter, which may prove impossible, I don't know. I know he started that race for Buescher and Keselowski was really high on him. I know that front row is fighting really hard for him, by giving him the 5 cup races. So I don't know. I would like to see him at front row and kind of build the program up a little bit. And they're showing promise. They're putting the resources in because it wasn't that long ago that they were require. And they're
Right.
but I just don't see him staying there. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like I look around, and outside of SHR, I really don't think there's anywhere else for him to go outside of somebody buying another charter.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think SHR could downsize and there be where the charter comes from?
Possibly.
Because they need to.
Yeah, they just aren't competitive at all, and I
Uh-uh.
don't want to get ahead of myself. I got some bones to pick as far as the competitive levels with SHR and the Xfinity side, but yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I don't envy Gene Haas or Tony Stewart at all when it comes to the SHR situation at the moment. We'll come back to that sooner rather than later, I'm sure, in the season. Let's talk about Kyle Busch out there. What are your thoughts on him trying to milk it and try to play with that tire strategy at the end of the race,
In the trucks or the cup race?
truck race?
Well, what he said, I don't think it was. I'm going back to his post race interview when he said it was luck. I would disagree. I think there are 3 drivers that could have won that race. It was well, actually 4. I think Kyle, Chastain, they were the 2 fastest two, and then I think you had Eckes and Zane Smith, um, were decent. I think any of those 4 trucks, if they got the lead, they were going to win the race. So
I'm going to
that's just
disagree.
kind
I
of
think
how I
it came
feel.
down to Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, or not Chastain, Zane Smith. Chastain had an issue. I don't know exactly what was going on with him. He definitely dropped off the pace, and
Yeah,
Kyle Busch overruling Brian Patty, I think, kind of bit him in the butt, obviously, but still not a bad result for him. Um, Truck race, like you and me both agree, was kind of wasn't great, wasn't
yeah.
terrible, was just kind of eh. Xfinity. Have we given up hope on Cole Custer at this point?
No, not quite because I I don't give up on anyone really until we get to Charlotte.
I mean, man, he's getting his ass kicked by Riley Herbst week in,
He
week
is,
out at
but
this point.
when we get to Charlotte, that's when everything resets. Or in my mind, that's whenever you get the kinks are wore out. You have no more excuse of a new team, new crew chief, or whatever you want to call it. I'll give him to Charlotte, but it's not looking good. I really thought he would have won by now.
Yeah, just
Well,
very
I
disappointed at
actually,
him.
I think we're going to find out now when this dash for cash from the Cup guys are out. That's where I think we're really going to find out if he's going to have anything this year or not.
Yeah, very true. Um, I don't know, man. I feel like that win he had at Kentucky a few years ago. That's his max, and we've seen that, and I don't see it getting any better from here. With that being said, I mean, there's no reason he can't be a lower level, a lower mid level, or an upper lower level Cup Series driver. I think he has an opportunity to get back to Cup. I just don't think it'll be. I mean, it's hard to say it won't be with SHR given the family ties, but I
Right.
don't know. I don't see him having success getting back there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Somebody that did surprise me though, speaking of success, and I made a tweet about it yesterday. I don't think um, Sheldon Creed ran a pretty good race, man. I
Yeah,
don't
he
think his
did. It was
results
kind of like
shows.
the Portland race last year.
Yeah, I don't think his results shows for where he should have finished, but Allmendinger went down there and absolutely wiped him out.
Yep.
Which I mean, I'm getting tired of seeing. I mean, I know this is the pot calling the kettle black, being a Kyle Busch fan, but I'm not tired of seeing AJ Allmendinger go and win all those Xfinity road course races. But that's neither here nor there. Um, yeah, I feel like he ran a pretty good race, and while the result wasn't terrible, I still don't feel like it really captured what he should have ran. It's kind of disappointing to see Austin Hill blow up so early and have his troubles. I feel like he might have had a decent day. And as somebody we talked about, or I talked about last week, I know you had some interest as well. Him putting together a complete schedule and just seeing how good he actually can be. The road courses at this point
Right.
are the only type of track we haven't seen him at, and I feel like that's definitely a front runner as it stands right now for the Xfinity Championship.
Yeah. Especially with the win at Las Vegas, that kind of shows that he's going to have speed everywhere. So, I would agree. I think road courses are probably his weakness. I really don't recall if he ran well there last year or not. I would assume no. No, he won a truck race in a road course. I remember he wiped the floor with the field, so maybe he's good at everything. So, yeah, it would be nice to have seen.
Yeah, I feel like this week coming up at Richmond will be just as telling as this road course race could have been. It'll be interesting to see how they carry and if they keep up that momentum. Also, on the RCR side, I want to see Creed continue to try to get results and try to be better. But I think all in all, there's no doubt in my mind that Austin Hill is the favorite right now. On the Xfinity Series side of things, what's going on with Junior, man? What's going on with the junior cars? They just look all out of sorts
They look like
at
they
this
did a
point.
couple of years ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It might have been the COVID year or the year before, where they just ran mid pack. And it's just kind of looks the same. And Miguel Paludo, they keep putting in that car at road courses, and dude didn't even run top 15. I don't get it.
Yeah, I sold him last week. Not necessarily him, but all the road course ringers going in there. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen at one point, a Formula One world champion for Ferrari, the last Ferrari world champion, um, started, was it fifth or sixth on one of the restarts, and immediately dropped the anchor and went back to like 20th within a span of I think 5 turns. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just not overly sold on these road course ringers or these modern day road course ringers like others are. Um, but no, getting back to the junior cars, I mean, I don't know. Very well could be an off year for him. Was Gregson just that good that there's that he was carrying the name and making Algar better, or just
I don't know. I think it's more of a cycle with junior motorsports. I think they just kind of cycle through these stages, and we're they're in a downtime. And I think maybe when we get to the summer months, they'll be back to their full self. But it's not looking good so far because at Las Vegas, which in my opinion is really well, Las Vegas and Phoenix, I should say, are really the two tracks that we've been to the show what you got, and they really didn't show much. So it is something to be concerned about.
speaking of not showing much, I hate to do it. Let's move on to the Cup Series race. Austin Dillon, man, like we got to get something rolling here.
He was running good today.
He ran okay,
He ran top
but where did he
five.
finish?
He
Where,
got punted.
where, where was he at? Oh, where was he at for most of the race though? Not during that cycle.
Okay,
Not during
he
that
was
cycle at
he,
the
he
end.
was the second fastest car on the Reddick strategy, and when he come out the pits, he come out in sixth place or something like that. Cycled there, he was running fifth place before he got spun out on speed. He was actually way better than Kyle Busch today. It just worked out for Kyle Busch. It
I
did
was going
not
to say
work
I was
out for
going to
Austin
buy
Dillon.
Randall Burnett and his strategy. He got it. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was all luck, but he lucked out big time
Yeah,
by
they were
pitting Kyle
screwed.
Busch in the manner in which he did.
I would sell
Um,
Randall Burnett actually.
how would you say that?
That they got lucky. That's what happened to them today.
I mean, their car wasn't all that. Wasn't a bad car. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't
That wasn't
great.
good strategy.
It
That was
was
good luck.
it worked out for him. Same thing that happened to Kyle Busch in the truck race. Everything. You're not always going to win them, not always going to lose, but he let down on that one. I don't know the results that I'm seeing from Austin Dillon. Obviously today's a little bit skewed, but at some point he's got to be competitive. At some point, he's just not really showing
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
he was
It's
absolutely dog water, as people say, at Phoenix and Las Vegas, which again I'll say are the two tracks you really got to pay attention to so far this year. So I mean, it's not looking good for him either. And Bubba Wallace, his not to change the subject completely, but speaking of just the results, I mean, the way he self doubted himself so bad in his interview, it kind of makes you wonder, like is he going to be able to recover from this? Because I mean, it just seems it just doesn't look like a good situation there.
Yeah, I think it. Hot take, very hot take in color right here. Ever since 2311 has been a two-car team, I don't think there's been a year that Bubba Wallace has been the best driver out of that stable, and this race
Right.
team was created specifically for him. Do you agree with that, or do you are you
Uh,
buying that, or are you selling
n-
that?
no question. I'll buy it.
I just I'm not going to sit here and say that 2311 is a top tier race team, but I don't know, man. Just the results haven't been. I'm not going to say he's been inconsistent. He's got two race wins. Went out and absolutely just absolutely annihilated Kyle Larson today, and I thought for sure it was a brake failure just by the way that he hit. But if he just misjudged that and locked the tires, I mean that's pretty bad.
And
And
yeah,
his interview didn't make him sound any better. I mean, people
no,
get on Kyle Busch for whining and whatever they want to
yeah.
say about him, but gosh, dog, man, that
I
was
know that's kind of why I wanted to bring him up. It's just because that was bad. Um,
yeah. I'm not I don't sit here and say that I'm a professional by any means, but in any aspect of life, I don't think I'd ever say that I don't deserve to be here. Get somebody else to
right.
do my
It
job.
it makes
I'm that big.
I don't know it, and I don't want. I'm not trying to judge or whatever you want to call them. I'm just saying, like, imagine if you're a sponsor, you're McDonald's, Dr. Pepper, and you listen to that. It's just I don't
He said I forgot what race it was last year. He said the same thing. I don't deserve to be in this car. That's just stuff that you don't say, man.
know. And another driver that really struggled today. Well, there's three others in my mind other than Bubba. Kyle Larson was absolutely awful today. Brad Keselowski looked like he belonged in the truck race, and Ryan Blaney just about the same. All three of those guys really struggled out there today. Do you think that's what we're going to see from them on the road courses this year, or do you think it was kind of a one-time deal, especially with Larson and Blaney?
Well, it's funny because I remember last year, the year before last, when Larson came back, or since Larson's been back at his little quote unquote incident. Um, Everybody's been regarding Larson as like the second best road course racer up there with Chase Elliott, as from what I've seen on Twitter. And Twitter
He,
is obviously a bunch of
yeah,
um,
he looked like the
interesting
32nd
people, we'll
best
call them.
today.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if it's necessarily the car or if it's just I don't know. You would think with Garage 56 and all the advantage that we've seen from given to Hendrick, you would think that he would have ran a little bit better. I'm not going to sit here and say it was all Larson. I'm not going to sit here and say it's entirely on Hendrick, but I don't know. I really don't know, man. As far as Blaney and Keselowski, I mean, I can't recall ever saying that Blaney is an elite road course racer. I mean, he's not terrible. He's not the worst in the field by any means, but he's not a ringer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm Blaney. Um, I really don't know, man. To be honest with you, I think this car, people, you made mention, I can't remember if it was last week, week before last. We were starting to figure the car out and starting to figure things out, and I feel like you're starting to see a little bit of a separation in terms of who's figured it out and who hasn't, and maybe Hendrick's just on the backside at this point.
Yep, I believe they are. Um,
Road
well,
course wise, I should say, road course
yeah,
wise.
yeah. Blaney, though, adjusting to the car, he has not won other than the All Star race, which let's just not even mention that race. Let's pretend like that didn't exist. I think everybody would be happier if we did. He has not won in this Gen 6 car, and really, he hasn't been that close. And he hasn't been that close this year. You know, I got some doubts going on over there and on the 12 car. And I'm going to keep it at Penske here and I'll get your thoughts on that. But the 2 car, he's supposed to be Cindric's supposed to be this great road course ringer. I don't see it. Where's it at?
Um, where did he finish today? He had a decent finish, did he not?
Yeah, because he kept dive bombing on the final corner. He's who
Well, that's still a good
he's kind of who
finish.
messed Kyle Busch up at the end and got him loose where and let Reddick get away.
That's one of my sells. I mean, a decent finish. I think the last gen car was definitely more favorable to his road course style. I mean, you've seen in the Xfinity series that he's obviously a really good road course racer, and um, I don't know, man. It might just come
Yeah.
down to some of these guys just their driving style isn't really what do you say? It doesn't really translate well to the to this next gen car. And I, but I wouldn't hazard to say, I would hazard to say that uh, Cindric's not a good road course racer. I definitely wouldn't say that. I just,
Well, I'm not
I don't
either.
know.
I just he's not AJ Allmendinger caliber, and that's very clear.
No, and it seemed like that was how he was marketed for a while.
Yes, yes.
In the Xfinity series, I mean, every time there was a road course race, I mean, everybody was sitting, bringing him up with him and him, Allmendinger, and I mean, heck, I even heard Ty Gibbs quite a bit because of him going
Hmm.
out and doing what he did at the Daytona road course. But I still don't think that's a fair shake at all on his
Yeah,
behalf.
he ran pretty good
But
there though
he ran all right.
for his Cup Series career so far. It was a pretty good run.
Yeah, um, yeah. But all in all, in conclusion of the Cup race, I just not bad, not good. I still think this track isn't exactly. It's obviously not a stock car track. It's a Formula One car track, or it's a Formula One track, obviously. They put on the best races there, and I still don't think the racing is that great at CotA. This race wasn't bad, wasn't good. It was just mid. I think the cautions at the end kind of made it a little bit more exciting, and
I would
I'm
have
not going
liked
to
to
sit
see
here
it.
and
I,
say,
I also would have liked to see that fuel mileage stuff play out. That would have been kind of cool.
yeah, I texted you that everybody was about a lap and a half short. Could you imagine the whole field having to come to pit road with one to go,
Someone would have made it, and
and
it would
some
have
guy
been cool.
and somebody sitting there trying to save, and somebody run out of fuel on that long backstretch,
Yeah.
and the chaos that would have ensued. But all in all, like I said, not a terrible weekend, not a great weekend by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying more short tracks. I mean, I think we're definitely going to see this weekend coming up how good this short track package is.
Oh
If they can
boy.
put it on a good race, and I will be thrilled. If not, I mean, it is what it is. I think it'll be a telltale sign. Something that I did see, which kind of puts me off a little bit. Oh, two things. Looking forward. The forecast is ever changing. It has gone from a high chance of rain on Sunday to a pretty low chance. And the weather's supposed to be kind of cool. I was looking forward to potentially seeing this rain package come out and seeing how that
Mhm.
was going to work out here. See, that was going to be exciting and all. But it looks like it's a possibility on Saturday. The rain's a decent percentage at night and in the late afternoon. So we'll see. That's a 3:30 start time, right, for the Xfinity race.
Probably.
So we'll see if that comes into it at all. Um, but yeah, um, I hazard to say it. I'm optimistic about it. Hopefully, it puts on a good show. What kind of buys and sales you got for this week?
Okay. I'll buy Zane
Give me your
Smith.
buys first.
I'll buy Zane Smith. I've already touched on why. Um, I'm
Yep,
going to I'm going to buy CotA because I thought I mean it's my favorite road course. I'm no bones about it. I think it puts on a better race than all the rest of them. Um, they say there's
that's a very
six.
low bar.
It is, but they say there's six. I'm struggling to come up with some of them. There's Dakota, the Roval. There's the Chicago, Sonoma,
Watkins Glen,
Watkins Glen. What's the other one?
Sonoma. All right, let's go in order. Coda, um,
I don't know.
Chicago, Sonoma, Watkins
Oh,
Glen,
Indy Road Course.
Roval, Indy. Well, that's very forgettable.
Yeah.
Well, in their defense, it has been pretty chaotic the past
Yeah,
few
it's been
years.
that
So
one's pretty good too. So far, I mean, Watkins Glen is probably the one that's been putting on the worst shows lately. Sonoma too. They're the oldest too, but they just haven't been cutting it in Chicago. We'll see. Um, I'm going to sell that, by the way, and I'm going to sell it every week. But let's see. I'm buying until I see it. We're going to buy Zane Smith. We're going to buy buy CotA. We're going to buy. I'm going to buy the next gen car on the road courses because the leader never got super far away on the Gen 6. I mean, Truex would have like 10-second leads a lot of times, Elliott 10-second leads. I think this is like the second year in a row at COTA where the biggest lead was like 3.5 seconds. And then they stay kind of grouped up, maybe a second and a half between cars, which, I mean, while it might not be this, it might be the same product where they're not side by side. At least gives you some hope that they can catch them. I mean, some of those the Gen 6 just did not do. We just I don't know. So I'm going to buy that. Um, and I'm going to buy that giant observation tower dropping watermelons off the top. That I actually kind of like that.
I'm gonna buy Bob Pockrass and his acting in that skit. That was great. National treasure. Protect him at all costs. Is that on the bias you got?
I might come up with some more as I listen to you talk, but yeah,
I'm gonna be a negative Nancy this week. I'm gonna buy Bob Pockrass, and that's about it. I really didn't see anything that piqued my. Oh, I'll tell you what I will buy. I'll buy one other thing. I've seen more side by side commercials this weekend than I can recall. To be honest with you, well, was that just me, or I got one more buy as well. Is that just me, or did you notice that as well?
no, the commercials were definitely a lot lower this week.
Also, with that being said, I'm going to buy the lack of stage cautions. That was great. I would love to see it be implemented on the ovals as well. I think it definitely contributed to the racing. It didn't really take anything away. I think it just made the racing overall better and just made it more exciting. Um,
I think I liked it better too.
um, my cells, I got several cells. Um, you're gonna I'm not gonna say dislike me for saying this, but let me ask you a question before I sell this person. What are your thoughts on Deegan shenanigans again this weekend?
This weekend
Yes.
or this past weekend?
This weekend, the what do they call it? The pile driver, we'll call her.
Oh, well, to be quite honest with you, I didn't pay much attention to her at all. I don't know where she finished or much about her race.
I mean, I can't remember who she tore, but she tore the piss out of somebody. I can't remember who it was. Not gonna sell her by any means, but just when I was wondering, you seem to be a Haley Deegan advocate. Um, I'm going to sell. I just gave Fox some kudos a minute ago, and I made a note on this. Let me pull this note up real quick. Um, at the conclusion of the Xfinity race, I can't find this. I know what it is. At the end of the Xfinity race, they were strung out. I mean, it was like a 15-second gap to third place and a 20-second gap to fourth place. And they were pretty tight. It kind of reminded me of the Cup Series a little bit, how tight they were from fourth on back. But when AJ Allmendinger crossed the finish line, we saw his wife, who I get it, she's hot. I put old Miss Sprint Cup. I feel you. We saw a shot of her. We saw a shot of AJ Allmendinger's in car. We saw a shot of Matt Collick. We did not show a single car crossing the start finish line after AJ Allmendinger, and they had some tight racing up back. Fox, do better, be better. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else was there. Um, I'm gonna sell these NASCAR fans who swear up and down that Formula One is the most boring thing ever. They get hyped over this road course racing when these cars are spread out like 10 seconds. I'm gonna say 10 seconds, but are spread out the way that they are. Closer racing does not all, and a lack of passing does not always equal better racing. Let's just get that figured out first and foremost. I watch Formula One for the Formula One aspect of it. I watch NASCAR for the NASCAR aspect of it. That's my other sell. What about you?
I'm going to sell Formula One. I think it's a very tiring watch on TV, and I would never subject myself to that. But anyway, I'm going to sell the '84 car, and that makes me happy to sell that. It's just a disaster. I'm going to sell. Let's see what else I'm going to sell. No, I'm
I
going
got
right
one
back
more
to
sell for you.
I'm gonna go to a buy. I did come up with a buy. I don't remember which one it was, if it was Lawless Allen or if it was Chris Wright. Either one, I routinely, and I'll do it on this show just so everyone can get a full grasp of what it's like to watch a race with me. I watched those two, and Dean Thompson was another one. I don't think he's racing this year. If he is, he hasn't done anything to make me remember him. One of them was running in the top 10 on speed this week, and I'm buying that. That was like the highlight of the truck race to me. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Chris Wright. But if it was Lawless Allen, I don't want to throw you under the bus. Whichever one it was, you made my race.
I'm 99.99% sure it was Lawless Allen, and I'm pretty sure that's who Haley Deegan absolutely T-boned.
Well, that's
Um,
why they didn't finish well. But hey, she runs around with them all the whole race. So I mean, my God.
yeah. One more sell before I let you get back to yours, and I'm glad you brought up the '84 car. I'm gonna sell these quote unquote road course ringers. I mean, let's be honest. Today, today, was not a very good showing for them as a whole. I get the nine car had some issues. I get Jimmy Johnson had issues, and I don't know if you can call him a road course ringer just because he
Nah,
raced IndyCar. I don't think that
because
counts.
he didn't do
Kimmy
well there
dropped
at
like an
all.
anchor. Jensen, I get Jensen Buttons in a. Technically, is that technically an SHR car for Rick Ware, or was that a straight up Rick Ware car?
I'm 95% sure it was a Stuart Hall's car, which was not much better than a Rick Ware car, to be honest.
At this point. But for that being said, I'm selling the absolute piss out of those road course ringers and road course ringers coming in general. I don't know. I think the days of Boris said coming in and lighting the foot on fire are over.
Yes,
Um,
unless Allmendinger just strictly road courses or Marcos Ambrose comes back, it is.
I heard them talking about Marcus Ambrose in the pre-race show at one point, and I like got really, really, really excited for it. I thought something like slipped my mind or slipped by me. And somehow Ambrose was back in this race or was going to be racing today, and I checked the entry list, and I was highly, highly, highly disappointed to see that he was not on there.
I would like to see
Um,
him in the Project 91 car,
with that being said,
which
again,
I'm
I'm
going to sell
selling.
that as well because if it's just going to be Kimi Räikkönen's car when he wants to race, which is basically what not Matt Collig, I can't think of his name right now, um
Justin Marks.
Justin Marks said, then just I mean, really, really, dude.
Yeah, no. You
We couldn't
made your
get
opinions
Elio in
known
the
on that.
500 because it's Kimi's seat. Okay.
Yeah, not a not a fan of it. Any more sales for you? Any more buys you can think of?
Um, no. It was just a ho hum week, really. I mean, other than I was really surprised with how bad Ryan Blaney struggled out there. He started last, and I honestly don't think he cracked the top 25 on a non-strategy lap. I mean, Denny Hamlin struggled really bad today too. I guess both of those kind of surprised me. Larson struggled, that surprised me. But other than that, it was just the typical, I guess, CotA race because I mean, it seemed like the same people up front last year were up front again this year.
Not a surprise, and I don't know exactly where he finished. Can you recall off the top of your head where Harvick finished?
Behind Todd Gilliland, I think.
Yeah, I didn't see. I mean, every time I look at the scoring pile, It looked like he was running like 30th. I mean,
Yep.
he probably ran a little bit better than that once everything shook out with the crashing and everything. But it seemed like he was pretty far back there.
Yeah, I want to give a call to Todd Gilliland. Actually, he finished 10th today. He was winning the race at Watkins Glen last year when he blew up and leading, I should say, not winning. And he got a top 5, I think, at Indy Road Course, which I know a lot of chaos happened there and today for him to finish so well. But his road course abilities are pretty okay, I think. And Corey LaJoy finished 11th today. He was barely in the playoffs after this many races, and I believe that'll keep him there. It should. I don't know for sure because I know he didn't get any stage points, but my God, he's putting together a whale of a season for a Spire car.
Yeah, I hope that he gets an opportunity somewhere at some point. The question is though, where does he go? Same thing with Zane Smith at this point. Um, Picks for this weekend coming up at Richmond. What do you think for the Xfinity side of things?
Um, well, it's Dash for Cash. I'm gonna go with John Hunter.
John
John
Hunter.
Hunter,
Give me
Austin
your top
Hill,
three.
and Sheldon Creed. I'm gonna give Sheldon a call because he ran so well.
I had the same top three to be honest with you. It's hard to bet against Austin Hill at this point. Ty Gibbs, we were at this race last year. Ty Gibbs and
Yeah,
John Hunter had their little quote unquote incident to
yeah,
decide the race. And Sheldon Creed showed some promise this week. I would like to see him continue to build.
yes.
Cup side, give me your top three.
Are they running trucks at Richmond?
No, just Xfinity and Cup and the modifieds, which I'm kind
Okay.
of excited for.
Cup. All right. Top three. Oh boy. Bowman seems to run well at Richmond. Chris Buescher ran, so I'm going to say Bowman's going to finish third. I'll say that Chris Buescher will finish second. He nearly won the race in the fall, and I think his short. We'll see about how RFK is. I'm going. I'm going to stick with him this week, and then I'm going to go with Christopher Bell winning the race.
I like that. No particular order on this one. I'm going to say I want to see Harvick have a good run. He obviously had his success in the fall last year. It would have been really cool. I mean, we wouldn't have been there, but to see him have the success in the spring, we would have been at
Yeah,
Texas Roadhouse chowing down on a steak when he ended up winning, if he would have ended up winning. Um, and I'm going to take a play from the say Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch.
yeah, not bad picks. I think if
Um,
Austin Dillon is going to have any speed this year, we're going to find out this week because he has in the past run really well at Richmond. He did not run well there last year, but I don't know. I mean, I remember one year he went out there and led like 150 laps. So I think we'll find something out this week if he's going to be way behind Kyle Busch like he has a lot this year, or if he's going to have any speed at all.
yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about Kyle Busch. He runs pretty well at Richmond. Ran decent there last year. Um, he just it'll be interesting to see how it translates over from. I'm not really sure how Tyler Reddick ran last year. Do you recall off the top of your head how he
No,
did?
I don't.
Um, really
MTJ
good
is
at
another one we're
Richmond.
going to find out a lot.
Who's that?
MTJ.
Good old Truex. Yeah, that'll be interesting as well. He's on a bit of a um. How long's it been for Truex?
Been a long time. Over a year.
Has it been long, longer than Blaney?
Just about.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. That could be a possibility now. I think about it for Zane Smith or LaJoy or whoever. We talked about Truex possibly hanging it up here in the next few years. Normally, you think of Toyota getting poached from, not necessarily doing the poaching, but we'll see what happens. They went and picked up Tyler Reddick last year, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
It
Um,
certainly will be interesting.
I'm optimistic for Richmond. Home for a little bit of rain. I would love to see how the short track package plays out, or this what weather package plays